Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Sanji, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Shivaji, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Janardhan ji, Hare Krishna. Busy. Okay. Tina Mataji, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, sorry, I was a little late on. Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Subarna ji, Hare Krishna. You are behind Sanil ji. Fine.
You are sweating, Prabhuji. Is
Yeah,
because
sweating. Because of something is not working here. Anyway, no problem. It will go. Fan is running. It will go. It will be okay. I sweat. Anyway. Dear Krishna Prabhu and Mataji, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Sweating is good, no? Good for
Prabhuji,
him.
Bangalore, it's nice and cold.
Bangalore, is a weather where you get diseased very soon.
Rainy weather all these past days.
Rainy weather, cool weather. You don't
Yeah.
get sweat at all.
Prabhuji, idhar mein to whatever the problem will come, it will come permanent. In one go, it will go.
Yeah.
There are small. Throughout the year, it will be there in Bangalore.
Yeah.
But yeah, it will be difficult.
It is one shot will come and go away. Good for us. Actually, very good. Good realization. That's why anywhere in the material world, no? Bangalore or any place, Uttar Pradesh, not a place to stay. You have to go back to spiritual world. Enough of going here and there. You have been going, this place is good, that place is good. Nothing is good.
Yes.
Yes.
Of course, Vrindavan is also is a spiritual place, but we are not so elevated. So better we prepare here and go back to spiritual world. Okay.
Yes.
Chali. Let's begin our session. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Shri Shri Radha Vrindavan Chandra ki jai. Shri Shri Nitai Gauranga ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Om. Okay. So we have begun the discussions on 13th chapter of Bhagavad Gita as it is. And we have been discussing about Neya. Up to verse 16 we have discussed. Just to get a quick recap on what we have discussed so far. This chapter is the first chapter in the section called Jnana Yoga. Bhagavad Gita is divided into 3 sections. Karma Yoga, the first 6 chapters. The middle 6 chapters is called Bhakti Yoga section. And the last 6 chapters is called Jnana Yoga section. So in this chapter, basically, Krishna is going to elaborate on many technical things which he has been discussing all through until so far, until 12th chapter. Like the modes of nature. What is this nature all about? About this Jivatma specifically. And also Lord, Ishvara. All the topics of Bhagavad Gita, the 5 topics. Jiva, Ishvara, Prakriti, then what else? Kala and Karma. Will be some more in detail explained in this last chapter. This last section, sorry. So beginning with 13th chapter, Arjuna asks 6 questions. What is Prakriti? When you say Prakriti, what is it actually? Right? When you say nature, what is nature actually? That is explained. Purusha. Purusha in Sanskrit basically means enjoyer. What does this enjoyer mean? There are 2 types of enjoyers Krishna explains here. One is the real enjoyer, that is Krishna, supreme enjoyer. And we also imitate like an enjoyer. Actually, our position is Prakriti, enjoyed. We are imitating like Purusha. So we are also known as Purusha in one sense. Then Kshetra, Kshetrajna. This body is called Kshetra. And the spirit soul, one who knows this body, is called Kshetrajna. Right? And Jnana and Gneya. What is knowledge and what is the object of knowledge? Right? The end of knowledge. These are the 6 questions which Arjuna asks. And Krishna very nicely explains. That begins with Kshetra, Kshetrajna. He goes on up to 7th verse. He says, this body, the field is called the field of activity. And the knower of the body, that soul, is known as the knower of this body, Kshetrajna. And in this body, there are 2 knowers. One is the individual soul, and another is the super soul, who is in everybody's body as super soul, Paramatma. And he knows everybody's body in detail, whereas we only know about our body, limited to our body. And Krishna goes on to explain from the Vedanta Sutra, Vedic scriptures, and the references from sages in a very brief way. What is this body all about? This body, Kshetra, basically means in any living entity, it is made up of 24 elements. 24 different elements. Description was given in verses 6 and 7. And then this Kshetra, as having inside it Kshetrajna, and how this Kshetrajna is taking this body, what type of body is going to get, when it got this body, and when it leaves this body, what happens, is all subject matter of discussion, which Krishna slowly is going to explain in this last section. Right? So very briefly, Krishna explained about Kshetra and Kshetrajna. And when it comes to the point of Jnana, as spirit soul, we all have our real understanding of what we are and what is our relationship with Krishna. And right now, that understanding of Krishna is covered by this material body. Our material mind, material intelligence is covering our real knowledge. So what is that real awakening of knowledge is what Krishna explains. The real nature of the soul is Krishna explains in 5 verses from 8 to 12. Prabhupada explains this as the process of knowledge. Right? So when you reach to this standard of understanding, amanitvam, adambitvam, humility, pridelessness, non-violence, tolerance, simplicity, then it is said that you have come to your real understanding of knowledge. Knowledge means that you are having, as a spirit soul, you are chit. Chit means you have understanding about you and the Lord and this creation. Real understanding. Right now, that understanding is covered. We have some ignorant ideas. Our ideas are colored. Right? It's like people think that getting honored by others is a very important thing. Whereas Prabhupada says, that is ignorance. Should practice humility. Should not be anxious to have satisfaction of being honored by others. That is knowledge. Right? Like this, Janma, Mrityu, Jara, Vyadhi. This is the real understanding of these things. Rather, as Prabhupada says, the perception of the evil of birth, death, old age, disease. The philosophical understanding that we are going to die one day, we're getting old every day, we're going to be diseased, we're going to take birth. This is a real problem. This is knowledge. And people are mostly ignorant about this, oblivious. No, don't worry, nothing is going to happen. As everything going well. Right? Like this, people are in ignorance. And Prabhupada says people are living like animals. Basically, it means animals are ignorant about their real self. Their knowledge is, with regard to the real self, is 0. They're only worried about eating, sleeping, mating, defending. That's the point. So, 20 items of knowledge were described in detail by Krishna. Prabhupada elaborately explained these 20 items. Now, coming from 13th verse onwards, Krishna is explaining the next question, the fourth question of Arjuna. Neya. Neya means the end of knowledge or the object of knowledge. What is that we are supposed to know from the knowledge? Right? So, the knowable, from the knowledge, what you are supposed to know. There are two nobles. One is spirit soul and one more is super soul. These are the two nobles. From whatever you study, whatever you learn, whatever you try to understand, this is what you're supposed to know finally. That you are spirit soul and you are connected to the super soul. This is the beginning of knowledge from second chapter. If you see, Arjuna was ignorant that, or he was posing himself as ignorant with regard to that he is the body, and he was lamenting, my grandfather, my teacher, my relatives are going to die. But Krishna began his teachings by telling, you are so full that you are not the body, you are spirit soul. Dehi nosmin yatha dehe. So Krishna explains in one verse about the first gaya, that is soul. He gives 4 characteristics of the soul. He says that it is anaditvan. Anadimat means it is beginningless. And it is matpara. It is subordinate to the Supreme, subordinate to Krishna, which means it is not independent. It is always subservient to Krishna. And it is eternal, it is spiritual. That's why it's called Brahman. It is not any material object. Right? It is called Brahman, the spirit. And it is not connected with any of these things in the material world. It is beyond the cause and effect of this material world. The fourth characteristic of the spirit soul. So when you have come to this level of realization that you don't die even after the death of this body, na jayate na mriyate, then we are always subordinate to Krishna. Jivera Swarupa Nitya Krishna Das. Right? And we are known as Brahman, or the spirit. The word Brahman has many meanings in Sanskrit. One of the meanings is that you are spirit soul. Just like we have heard of this statement, Aham Brahmasmi. I am that spirit soul. I am spirit. Spirit means non-material, not this material object. Right? And this body is subject to many of these conditions in the material world. Right? You observed me, I was sweating because body is subjected to many conditions in the material world. But spirit soul doesn't sweat, doesn't get cold, doesn't become hot, nothing. What did Krishna say in second chapter? Adakyo yom achedyo yom aklodyo yom. It cannot be cut to pieces, it cannot be moistened by water, it cannot become wet, it cannot dry. The spirit soul is beyond these material conditions. Right? It is transcendental. That is what our situation is. But somehow we have become identified. We are identifying ourselves with this material world, and we have become engrossed in that understanding. Right? Prabhupada says this point in the first verse, purport. Although the living entity is completely different from the material body, he somehow becomes related. Right? How we have come into the contact of the material world, how we can be delivered by proper discharge of devotional service is what Krishna is going to explain now. Okay, so this is first Gaya. Gaya means what is to be known, the noble, end of knowledge. And from verse 14, Krishna has been explaining about Paramatma feature. Who is that Paramatma? Krishna explains, first aspect of Paramatma is that he is all-pervading. What Krishna explained in the third verse of this chapter. Sarva kshetreshu bharata. So, how is all-pervading? He has his hands, legs everywhere. He has his eyes, ears, faces, everywhere. He can hear everything. Super soul is all-pervading. So, we are having a session here online. Super soul knows. He's seeing. He's observing. Everything what we are going or what we are trying to think, understand, he's knowing. Because he's sitting as Paramatma in your heart. So anything and everything happening in this whole creation, he knows. Because he has his hands and legs everywhere. So when you offer bhoga to Krishna, so he can accept because he has hands everywhere. He can take. He has his mouth everywhere. He can eat. He can hear when you are chanting Hare Krishna. That's the whole point. So Lord's omnipotence, all pervasiveness, super soul is not simply what we think, oh, it's only limited to sitting in my heart. No. He is everywhere, all pervading. Super soul is all pervading, and everything is existing on the super soul purposes. Omnipotence of the Lord is this. Even though he's in his own abode, Golok Vrindavan, he can simultaneously be here. Goloka eva nivasati akhilatma bhuta, Brahma says. And further, many wonderful aspects Prabhupada and other Krishna explains about the Gneya, super soul. Next thing is that super soul is the origin of all senses. But he is not having any senses like us. Whatever bodies, different entities have, body means senses. Right? So the senses originating from super soul only. It's just in a very concise way Krishna is telling, but this process of how senses originate from Krishna, Bhagavatam explains. Right? So our senses, as whatever senses we have now, Krishna is the source, and whereas he doesn't have material senses like us, his senses are transcendental, spiritual. Right? Then, even though he is maintaining all of us, Nityo, Nityanam, Chaitanas, Chaitananam, all living entities, every species of life, he is not connected to this material nature like we are connected. Right? That is how Krishna's transcendental nature is. Asaktam sarva bhrukcheva. Just like we are so much in part of this material nature and we are so attached with this body, attached with different bodies here, different activities here. Whereas Krishna, even though he is maintaining and taking care of all of us, he is not attached. Means he is transcendental. He doesn't have any material qualities, even though he is the master of the material qualities. That is Krishna's transcendental nature. So, sort of a contradictory statements are being made here. Even though he is the origin of all senses, of all living entity, he has no senses. Even though he is maintaining everybody, he is not attached. Just like in our experience or in our understanding, you are maintaining something or you are managing something, you are attached. Krishna is not like that. Like we are attached. He is managing it with his various multipotencies and his various other personalities. And then he is not having qualities like us, even though he is the master of all qualities, master of everything. Right? Further, Krishna says that I am both inside and outside. Bahirantascha bhutana. Internally, externally situated. And both in the moving and the non-moving beings is existing. And he is sukshma. Sukshma means very subtle. Right? He is not able to be perceived by our material senses. Right? And we cannot know him so easily. That's why he is called Sukshmatva Davigneyam. Even though he is far away in his Goloka Vrindavana, he is also nearby as Paramatma in our heart. These are all statements like this in the Vedic scriptures. See, this Bhagavad Gita is also known as Gita Upanishad. Gita Upanishad. Upanishad is that portion of the Vedic literatures which gives the conclusion of all the Vedic literatures and brings you more closer to Krishna, absolute truth. So these statements which Krishna is mentioning here, all of these statements in this 13th chapter especially are all explained in different Upanishads. That's why this particular Bhagavad Gita from Mahabharata is called Gita Upanishad also. Right? Upanishad means which is bringing closer to Krishna, absolute truth, understanding of absolute truth. So all these statements are sort of a repetition. You would have seen in the purports, the 2nd chapter and all the other chapters. Prabhupada is referring to some Upanishad. Similar statement. So basically, all these statements are there in other Upanishads. In Bhagavad Gita, it is more precisely and more more specifically, focusedly explained in a very systematic manner. Complete understanding. Krishna himself is speaking this. So like this further, in today's verse, 17th verse, Krishna is giving further understanding about super soul. Two more verses he gives. 17, 18, you will see. Krishna explains. Avibhaktam cha bhuteshu vibhaktam ivacha stitam bhuta bhartru cha tagneyam grashishnu prabhavishnu cha. So, super soul is in everybody's heart, in every living entity. So, does it mean that he has become divided? Avibhaktam means he is not divided, even though it looks like he is divided. Vibhaktam. Even though super soul appears to be divided, he is never divided. He is situated as one. He is one super soul only who is expanded as super souls in everybody's body. He is one only. He is the same person who is divided as so many millions and billions of super souls in everybody's body. And Krishna is Bhuta Bhartra. Again, this maintenance aspect we saw in verse number 15 is repeated again. He is the maintainer of every living entity, and also he is the origin and destroyer. Grashishnu Prabhavishnu cha. Means creation, maintenance, destruction happens through him. That's the simple language. Right? So here, Prabhupada is explaining about super souls being in everybody's heart. How is it that super soul can be in everybody's heart? So powerful he is. So Prabhupada gives an example of our material example of sun. Sun, even though it is in one place in the sky during the daytime, but all of us will feel as though sun is above my head. Right? So Prabhupada says, Vedic literature gives this example to show how the one sun, which is actually undivided, he appears to be divided. Similarly, the same Lord as super soul, Paramatma, Vishnu, by his omnipotence means all powerful nature, just like sun appears in many places to many persons, the Supreme Lord also appears divided, but he is not divided. The same Supreme Lord, he has expanded. That is Lord's omnipotence. Omnipotence means so powerful he is. Right? So, this is the Lord's opulence, you can say. It's like a big man in the material world. We see, oh, he has that factory here, this factory here, Tatas. There are factories all over the world. One Tata is having so many factories, which means opulence. Likewise, Krishna's opulence is simultaneously he is in Goloka Vrindavan and also he is present in everybody's heart. Goloka eva nivasati akhilatma bhuta is Brahma's statement. Right? So, this is one aspect, one opulence of Krishna. And also, the second opulence which Krishna himself is mentioning here is that he is maintaining every living entity. Prabhupada says, not only on earth, on earth also, there are so many remote areas, remote jungles, so many animals, birds, other entities, all are getting their necessities of life. Nobody is starving. Right? Everybody is being maintained by Krishna. Right? It is Krishna's, because Krishna himself says later on 14th chapter, we'll see, he is the father of all living entities. Aham bija pradapita. He is the seed-giving father of all living entities. So he is maintaining everybody, and from him only all things have started. Everything is started from his, like Krishna mentions in 10th chapter. You see, 10th chapter, verse number 37. 37, if you see, very clearly Krishna says, not 37, 1 second, 37, 39. 39. Yachapi sarva bhutana bijam tadam arjuna nadadasti vina yatsyan maya bhutam charachara. Krishna says, 39th verse in 10th chapter, I am the generating seed of all existence. Sarva bhutanam chapi bijam. Right, already Krishna has explained this. Everything has a cause, and the cause of the seed of manifestation is Krishna. Yachapi sarva bhutanam bijam tadam arjuna Nanadasti vina yatsyan maya bhutam characharam. Without me, there is no being, moving or non-moving, that can exist without me, Krishna says. Means anything what is happening in the material world is all because of Krishna's all-powerful existence. Just see. Already Krishna has briefly explained as part of his opulence, Vibhuti Yoga in 10th chapter. Now, same thing Krishna is explaining in a different way. He is the origin of everything and also he devours everything. 11th chapter we saw how Krishna says that as Kala, I am destroying everything. And he was showing to Arjuna how all the soldiers on the battlefield, all the great warriors, Bhishma, Drona, Jayadratha, Duryodhana and party and everybody are all rushing towards the Vishwarupa's mouth, like flies rushing towards the fire. He is devouring everything. Grahishnu, Prabhu Vishnu Cha, Krishna says here. So, Krishna is the origin of everybody. He is the maintainer of everybody. And also, he is the annihilator, destroyer of everything. The Srishti, Sthiti, Laya happens by him. That's all. That is the point. This is again repeated in different ways. That is a function of the Vishnu form. Vishnu is one of the expansion of Krishna. Right? So, Krishna as Paramatma is doing all these aspects. Next, verse number 18. Jyotisham api tajyotis tamasa paramuchyate jnanam gneyam jnanagamyam hridi sarvasya vishtitam. So now Krishna is very interestingly telling that anything what you see having any power of illumination, luminous object, the source of that luminous aspect is me. Right? Illumination is coming from me. Anything, sun, moon, stars, electricity, any light you see, I am the source, Krishna says. Just like Krishna says, I am the taste in water, 7th chapter. Likewise, he is telling here, Jyotisham api tajyoti. In all the luminous objects, that objects, anything which shines, the shine power is coming from me. Source of that light is me. And I am beyond the darkness of this material world. Tamasa paramuchyate. And I am the jnana, I am the object of knowledge, gyeya, and I am the ultimate end of knowledge, goal of knowledge. So very nicely Krishna is saying, jnanam, neyam, jnanagamyam. Right? Hridi sarvasya vishtitam, and I am situated as Paramatma in everybody's heart. See, like again, this aspect of Krishna situated as Paramatma in everybody's heart. Krishna has explained in 8th chapter also. Now again he is repeating. This will be repeated again and again in the coming chapters. 15th chapter Krishna says that, amatta smriti jnanam apohanam cha sarvasya cha sannivishta. I am seated as Paramatma in everybody's heart. And again 18th chapter he says, Ishvara sarva bhutanam vriddesha arjuna tishtati brahmayam sarva bhutani. Means I am seated as Paramatma in everybody's heart and everybody is taking different bodies like yantras, vehicles, and they're all moving around in different destinations. So like this, Krishna's wonderful opulences with regard to how seated as Paramatma in everybody's heart is again confirmed in this verse. So this is Paramatma, Lord as Paramatma. What is his role? The luminous objects, light is coming from Krishna. So sometimes you wonder how come sun is shining or moon is shining. At least science says the moon is reflecting the light of the sun. Where from the light of the sun is coming? Here we get the answer. The source of light of sun is Krishna. Krishna's body is giving out effulgence known as Brahma Jyoti. Very nicely, interestingly, Prabhupada gives the answer of why the sky is blue. Sky is blue because Krishna's body, which is Shama Varna, it is reflecting Brahma Jyoti. It is reflecting the light, effulgent light. It is spreading everywhere. Right? Because of that, the sky is blue. And the source of light, the sun, the moon, everything, actually Krishna only is giving that light. So like this, this is very interesting, explanations in this portion of the Bhagavad Gita Krishna is giving us. So here in the material world, we require the assistance of sun, moon, light, so many other sources of luminous objects for us to keep us, active. It's like I put the lights on here. Without light, it will be dark. So where from this light, the luminous aspect, the illumination, where from it is coming? Originally, if you go cause and effect principle, it is originating from Krishna. Right? So today morning we were hearing in our Bhagavatam class how there are many stars in the sky which are all luminous, and the astrologers have found out, the astrophysicists, people who do all this study, astrophysics, they found out that these stars also have life. They have this evidential reality that they're seeing that over a period of time, some stars start slowly dimming out. It's like we see sometimes light also, tube light also slowly dims out, and then one day it is fully out. And that the stars also slowly, it reduces its luminous power, and one time it is disappeared, which means lost. Likewise, they have calculated for the sun also, it is going to be bright for some given number of time, some say billions of years, of course. It has been like this for billions of years, and now it will shine like this for billions of years, some more billions of years. But finally, it is going to die. So basically, the light, or rather any object in the material world or any planet in the material world, is all having its beginning and an end. That's the point. Whereas Krishna is that personality who has no beginning, no end. Anadir Adir Govindaha Sarva Karana Karanam. So, the whole understanding here is that Krishna is that personality who is beyond this material world. Tamasa Paramuchyate. That's what this verse is telling. Krishna is telling that Aditya Varnam Tamasa Parastat. This statement we have heard previously. Aditya Varnam Tamasa Parastat. Right? I think the 8th chapter. Is that right? Let me open that verse. 9th verse. Yes. 9th verse. In 8th chapter, 9th verse, Krishna is describing about his own, specific qualities. Kavim Puranam Anushasitaram. Aditya Varnam Tamasa Parastat. He is luminous like the sun, and being transcendental, he is beyond his material nature. Adityanam Aham Vishnu. 10th chapter Krishna says again. Which means, among the Adityas, bright, luminous personalities, I am that sun. Right? Adityanam, Aditya Varnam, sun is also called as Aditya. So, he is luminous like the sun, and being transcendental, he is beyond the material nature. Same thing again and again in different ways, Krishna is telling, basically. Tamasa Paramuchyate. And further, in the 3rd, 5th, later chapters, we'll see, Krishna says, from all the Vedas, I am to be known. I am the knowledge, I am the object of knowledge, I am the goal of knowledge. Jnanam, Neyam, Jnanagamyam. Right? What is the difference between object of knowledge and goal of knowledge? That's like when you perform any activity, you will have some objective. Right? What is the objective? To help the poor. It's like Akshapatra. The objective is that children who are out of school will come to school and at least get a nutritious meal. And by this, what is the goal? Eventually, we should see that children will get proper education. Right? So likewise, with regard to performing devotional service, the object of performing devotional service is to see that we get purified and we perform more and more purified devotion to Krishna. And the goal is to achieve shelter of Krishna. Jnanam, Jneyam, Jnanagamyam. Right? But everything there is Krishna only. The final thing is Krishna. In everything it is Krishna only. Krishna is the beginning, Krishna is the middle, Krishna is the end. So, Jnanam, Niyam, Jnanagamyam. Nice. Krishna says that very nicely in this, very rhythmic in this, right? So, that way, Krishna is everything. Object of knowledge, goal of knowledge. Just like in the modern day, the object of knowledge is what? Object of knowledge is you get some learning, you learn something, and then you earn your living. What is the goal of knowledge? Enjoy senses, sense gratification. Just see, contrast. What in any type of an activity which you're going to do, any type of a endeavor you want to do. This knowledge is for what? In fact, in the 18th chapter, Krishna is going to explain in detail what is knowledge. Some more details, technical answer is going to give. Right? 3 types of knowledge is going to explain. So, like this, there are quite interesting descriptions about jnana, knowledge in Bhagavad Gita. Basic understanding of jnana is difference between spirit and matter. That is what Krishna has been explaining from the beginning of Bhagavad Gita. Right? Krishna chastises Arjuna by saying what? Arjuna, you are speaking like a big learned man, Pandit, but you are such a fool. Fool number 1, that you don't even know what is spirit, what is matter. That is the basic knowledge. Distinction between spirit and matter. Right? So, this the highest spirit knowledge is what? To know that Krishna is that original spirit from whom all these other spirits are coming out. And the Gneya, that's what we're discussing. What is to be known? The noble. The noble is that super soul in everything. And the object of knowledge, the goal of knowledge, what is that you're supposed to achieve? You're supposed to achieve Krishna only finally. He is everything. So like this, very interestingly, in Bhagavad Gita, in Bhagavatam, we get many such wonderful descriptions. Next, 19th verse, Krishna is summarizing all the things what he has told so far in this chapter. Iti kshetram tatha jnanam gneyam choktum samasataha mad bhakta etad vijnaya mad bhavayopapadyate. So, he's telling iti kshetram. Kshetram means the field of activities, the body. Jnanam, knowledge. Gneyam, the object of knowledge, is what is to be known, knowable. Everything I have summarily described to you. Right? Kshetrajna means soul and super soul is included in Gneya. So Krishna is not saying about Kshetrajna here. Why? Because already Gneya means that's what we understood, soul and super soul. Right? So it is not mentioned separately here. So Krishna is telling what is Kshetra, what is Jnana, what is Gneya. I have briefly explained to you. And all this understanding can be known only by whom? Only by devotees. Mad bhakta etad vijnaya. Mad bhavayopapadyate. And when you understand this subject matter thoroughly, what happens? You will attain my nature. Just see. My nature means Krishna's nature means what? Spiritual nature. Right? His nature is Krishna's nature is spiritual nature. Janma karma chame divyam evam yo veti tattva tyaktva deham punarjanma neti mameti so Arjuna. 4th chapter Krishna says. Understand about me, my appearance, my activities in truth. Then after leaving this body, you'll come back to me. Right? And again, in 8th chapter, what does he say? Antakale cha mameva swaran mukta valevaram yaprayati sa madbhavam. Krishna says that when you have, at the time of death, when you quit your body, your mind is absorbed in me, remembering me alone. Mameva, nothing else, only me. Antakale cha mameva. 8.5, you see. If you can remember only me, at that time you will attain my nature, madbhavam. My nature means spiritual nature. This material world is called material nature. You will get spiritual nature, Krishna's nature. So similarly, Krishna is telling is madbhava upapadyate. Right? So again, in 7th verse, Krishna says, if you can somehow 24 hours remember him, sarveshu kaleshu ma manusmara yudhyacha mayyarpita manobuddhir Mamevesya samshayaha. So like this, repeatedly Krishna is again and again in different contexts telling, you have to come back to me, you have to attain my nature, you have to get sort of a, like you have to become connected with me. Why? Because that is our original situation. So here in this verse, Krishna is very wonderfully explaining that these subject matters of kshetra, kshetrajna, jnana, gneya, all this cannot be understood by ordinary people who are not practicing devotion. For them, these are all subject matters of, beyond comprehension. One who is practicing devotion, mad bhakta, only they can understand, which means the Bhagavad Gita understanding is not for ordinary people who are not practicing devotion. They may academically try to understand Bhagavad Gita in their own way by analyzing something, by giving some understanding, some metal sort of a commentary. But if you want to enter into the spirit of Bhagavad Gita, the spiritual understanding of Bhagavad Gita, then you are supposed to become a devotee. Very important. It is the first qualification. Bhagavad Gita is not meant for people who are abhakta. If you see 18th chapter, almost towards the end, Krishna instructs Arjuna that this Bhagavad Gita should not be spoken to few people. Right? He says, one who is not having any austerity. Idam te na tapaskaya. Na tapaskaya means one who is not austere, one who is not practicing austerity in his life, simply living a life of self-indulgence, sense gratification. Eat, drink, be merry. Oh, for such people who are not following some austerities, means restriction, rules, regulations of following of this is I should not eat this, I should eat this. Right? Eating anything and everything, doing anything and everything, they cannot understand Bhagavad Gita. Krishna says, so such people don't give this knowledge, don't explain this knowledge, Krishna says. Who are not austere, who are not devotees, na bhaktaya. 4 types of people he says. One is one who don't have austerity. Second is one who is not a devotee. And thirdly, one who is not engaged in any devotional service. Na cha ashushave vachyam. Right? Means like he's not even chanting, he's not even having any, some service motive. At least once in a while, I would like to come and do some seva in Bhagavad of Krishna. No such attitude of service. Right? No service attitude. And one who is envious of me. Naja maham cha abhyasuyati. So Krishna says, these 4 types of people don't explain Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna. This immediately after the verse Krishna says about sarvadharman parityajya. Very interesting. He says, give up everything and surrender to me. After he says this, he instructs Arjuna, this confidential knowledge of what I am telling you now, don't for people who are not austere, who are not devoted, or not devotees, who don't have service attitude towards me, and fourthly, who is envious of me. So Prabhupada says, devotees are more merciful than Krishna. So they don't bother, whether you're austere, anything, whether you're devoted or you're envious. No. He openly conducts a class. It's like we are conducting a class. Anybody can join. We don't give you we don't give you some entrance test. First of all, you qualify this. You're a devotee. You're not having any envy towards Krishna. We don't ask you anything. Come join. Prabhupada also, he went to America. What did he tell them? Oh, you're not devotees. You're all mlechas, yavanas. He didn't say. Austerity 0. All drinking, smoking, drugs, all in different world they were in. No austerity at all. When you are indulging yourself in intoxication, austerity breaks. Tapasya breaks. Right? So like this, Prabhupada has gone and preached to such people. Not totally, they didn't have any qualification. Right? Only some sincerity they had to to hear Prabhupada. That's all. That's what Prabhupada taught them. So basically, Krishna is telling this basically so that people unnecessarily don't criticize Krishna, or they make more offenses towards Krishna and become averse to Krishna. Whereas devotees are very merciful. Somehow they want to take the risk and start giving Krishna to everybody. Just like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has come and given, right, Krishna to everybody. Like this, basically, what Krishna wants to tell us here is, understanding Bhagavad Gita means you are supposed to be having some level of, at least to begin with, some faith in Krishna. Prabhupada says in the introduction of Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita can be understood only we have some initial faith that Krishna is Supreme Lord. More you have to understand about Krishna. That much faith is there, then you can understand Bhagavad Gita, Prabhupada says. So that's what Krishna is reiterating here. The subject matter of Kshetra, Jnana, Gneya, all this is not easy for ordinary person unless you are devotee of Krishna. Devotee means what? Chanting Hare Krishna, having prasadam in your house every day, offering bhoga to Krishna, doing seva to Krishna, trying to understand Krishna philosophy. That is called devotee of Krishna. So, Prabhupada says, right now we are being led by material consciousness. As soon as we transfer all consciousness to Krishna's activities and realize that Krishna is everything, then we attain real knowledge. You see? Our material consciousness is dominating our understanding right now. Right? So we have to transfer that consciousness to Krishna's. Oh, it's all Krishna's. It's Krishna's world. It's everything Krishna's. All living entities are Krishna's part and parcel. Krishna is everything. This realization has to come in. Then we have come to the real understanding. Right? So, in other words, this Prabhupada says, knowledge is nothing but the preliminary stage of understanding devotional service perfectly. So, knowledge is nothing but the preliminary stage. Knowledge doesn't mean, oh, I have studied, I got some degrees in Harvard University or some big college, or that this double PhD, all this. That is material knowledge. Real knowledge, spiritual knowledge means when you are about to begin your devotional service, oh, understood, Krishna is the source of everything, I am part and parcel of Krishna. Prabhupada says, knowledge and development of knowledge means understanding oneself in Krishna consciousness. Right? So, the aspect of devotional service has to be awakened in our understanding. When that is the proper understanding of whether you have really come to the right platform of knowledge. So, Krishna is summarizing that this understanding of Kshetra, Jnana, Gneya itself will qualify you to come to the level of Krishna Bhava, Mad Bhavam. You'll attain the Krishna's nature. Wow, it means if you liberate, you're not even discussed about Purusha and Prakriti still. Krishna is so wonderful. Next verse number 20. Very interesting. Next 4 verses very interesting. Okay. So next now Krishna is going to answer the first 2 questions of Arjuna. What is Prakriti? What is Purusha? Okay. Prakritim Purusham Chaiva Vidhyanadi Ubhavapi Vikaramsha Gunamshaiva Vidhi Prakriti Sambhavan. It's a very short verse, but deep meaning. Prakriti, material nature, and Purusha, living entity. Vidhyanadi Ubhavapi. Vidhi means you should know, should be understood. They are both anadi. They are beginningless. Out of the 5 subjects of Bhagavad Gita, Jiva, Ishvara, Prakriti, Kala, and Karma, the first 4 subjects, Jiva, Ishvara, Prakriti, Kala, are eternal. You see, the Jiva and the Prakriti we are studying now, both are eternal. Krishna is confirming this here. Both the Purusha and the Prakriti are eternal. Living entity and material nature eternal. Whereas the different transformations which happens in the material nature, the transformations in the modes of matter are products of material nature. Prakriti means modes of nature. Modes of nature are constantly changing. They are constantly changing the configuration of different things in the material world. It's a little technical, but we'll try to understand this as we move forward. Right? Now, Krishna's energy, one of the energies, Bahiranga Shakti. This Bahiranga Shakti, external energy, is composed of 3 modes. The characteristic way in which this material nature works, that is called modes. In particular modes they work, right? This mode, it's like in a car, the gear is having different modes. Reverse gear is one mode, right? The gear number 1 is just to begin. After that, as you move forward, 3rd gear, 4th gear, high speed you can go. Mode means particular way the nature works, influences your various psychophysical aspects. That is called material nature, right? Modes of nature. Okay. So here Krishna is telling Vikaramscha Gunamschaiva Vidhi Prakriti Sambhavan. The living entity doesn't take any time, as a spirit soul, there is no transformation. Right? What did we understand in verse 13? Krishna said, Anadimat Param Brahma Nasattan Nasuchyate. Sat Asat, beyond that. It is beyond any cause and effect. Which means no transformation is happening in this spirit soul. What is changing is only body. That's what Krishna is telling. The external body which the living entity gets, that is going through transformations. The transformations and the modes of matter are products of material nature. So this body, what we have got, is a product of material nature. This Krishna is hinting out here in this. He'll explain more properly in the next verses. So Prabhupada explains, by this knowledge, the body, the field of activities, and the knows of the body, both the individual soul and super soul, can be known. Which knowledge? The knowledge which now Krishna is going to explain about Prakriti Purusha. You can understand the body. This body is known as Kshetra, field of activities. And there are 2 knowers, individual soul and super soul. Right? So, what is this body? We understood. Panchabhuta Mahabaho, Mahabhutani Ahankaro. That's what Krishna said in the verse 6 and 7. So, when we are reading Bhagavad Gita, we should also always understand and refer what you have read so far. Then it will be easy to grasp what you are reading. Otherwise, isolatedly, if you read every verse, it will look as though, what is it? I'm not able to understand. There's a flow, connection with the previous verses and what Krishna is going to speak now. So, right now, this soul, spirit soul, is embodied. Embodied means, it's what Krishna said, Dehi nosmin yatha dehe. Dehi deha. What is the body? Krishna is explaining. This body is the field of activity, kshetra, and this body is composed of Mahabhuta Nyahankaro Buddhim Avyakta Vevacha. Mahabhuta, the material elements, what you see. What is free from the material elements are coming from material nature. That is the source, right? It's composed of material nature in simple language, right? And the living entity in this body is enjoying or having this enjoying spirit in this material world. That's why he's trying to imitate. Prabhupada says, nakal karta hai. Nakal means copy, anukaran. You're imitating like a Purusha. But you are not, your position is not a Purusha, you're supposed to be subordinate. That's why you understood in 13th verse. What did we understand? Matparam Brahma. Matparam means is subordinate. But we want to become like master. Right? So, that is what we are trying to do in the material world, and based on our capacity to do the mastering or the lording over, we get different bodies. That is called sense gratification. Right? So, living entity, actually, his position is what? He is also energy of Krishna, but he is superior energy to material energy. He is called Tatastha Shakti, marginal energy. Somehow he has got entangled in the material world. His position is to be subordinate, but he is doing a imitation of being a master. That's why he is also known as Purusha. So basically, Krishna is trying to give us understanding here Our situation is to be eternal. We are all ever existing in the material world, right? Even before the creation, we existed. In the Bhagavad Gita itself, Krishna explains in 8th chapter what happens during Brahma's night. When Brahma's night comes, all of us are annihilated and we enter into the stomach of Vishnu. Right? Again, when Brahma's night is over, day comes, again we are created. We get one more. Creation means what? We are not dead. Our soul will lose its material body and it remains inactive for one night of Brahma. Again, when the day comes, this living entity will get one more body based on whatever previous, last desire it had. Based on that, it will get one more body. Again, we go on cycle of birth and death. Like this, our life is going on. Nitya Baddha Jivana is going on like this. So, Prabhupada is explaining this whole mystery of this material creation, how we have come into existence, what's happening with us, where were we before we were born, what all lifetimes, what all different lives we had, what's happening with us, what will happen next to us. It's a big mystery, rahasya, right? Actually, originally, what we are, as spirit soul, we are part and parcel of Krishna. We are eternal. We are not subject to this material creation, not subjected to getting this material body. But we have somehow got this material body. Why? Because Prabhupada says, due to rebellious nature, Krishna bhuliya jiva bhogavan chakare. Due to rebellious nature, because we didn't want to serve Krishna, so Krishna has, it's like when the person in a state or any place doesn't want to follow the rules, regulations of the government. He wants to violate the rules, rebel against the government. What does government do? He'll arrest him. The government will arrest that person. Likewise, when the living entity doesn't want to serve Krishna, he wants to rebel against Krishna, Krishna has put that living entity in a situation of material world. Material world means you get a body, material body. Your spiritual existence is covered. It is imprisoned in a material body. It's like when somebody is put in a jail, he is within the four walls of that prison house. He is given a different dress. Likewise, as spirit souls, we have our original body. That body is right now covered, and we have got a material body. This material body is not actually our body. It is going on changing. From our birth, you see how many type of bodies we have changed. What all bodies you have changed. Right? So, Prabhupada says, in the scriptures, the Lord says that those attracted by material nature are undergoing a hard struggle for existence. In the prison, what does happen? Hard struggle for existence. That's what happens. So, this all is happening by material nature. These transformations and modes of matter are products of material nature. Living entity per se has nothing to do with this. But somehow it has got identified with this. That's the problem. Misidentification. It's called bodily conception of life. So, basically, the living entity is transcendental, but it has got entangled in this material world because of its identifying. Because of identifying, it is entangled like this. As soon as it identifies with Krishna, it is liberated. Jivan mukta sa uchyate. So that's the understanding. So, Prabhupada says, this whole material world is created to give a chance for the living entity somehow to understand this great mystery. Why are we here? What I should be doing? Somehow again prepare myself to go back to spiritual world. I don't want this again suffering here. Let me go back to spiritual world. This, in order to tell the living entities or give this understanding to living entities, this material world is created. Prabhupada said the same thing in 3rd chapter, if you remember. In one of the purpose, the very beginning verses, Prabhupada said this. What is the purpose of creation? Right? We just open that particular verse. See, Prabhupada says in verse number 10, 3rd chapter, purport, the material creation with the Lord of creatures is a chance offered to the conditioned souls to come back home, back to Godhead. This is a whole program for the conditioned soul. Right? So, this material world is an opportunity, is a chance for the living entities to act in a specific way. The Lord is directing us and prepare ourselves to go back to spiritual world. Sooner we do this, better for us. we don't follow this, again, going on Nitya Baddha Jivana. Human life is meant to awaken this understanding and prepare ourselves and go back. If we don't do this, our conditioned life continues. That's the point. So this verse is the beginning of the last two questions which Krishna has not answered so far. We have more discussions to happen in this section. We will see in the next session. I will conclude here, stop here. If anybody has anything to ask, discuss, comment, you can take a few questions.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes, Sujilaji.
Can you explain what is the difference between ascending process of acquiring knowledge and descending process of acquiring knowledge?
Okay. So ascending process means wherein a person by his own endeavor, by experimenting, by researching, by figuring out things, you try to get to the what is truth, what is fact. You go on researching, trying to experiment. Oh, this may not be the truth, this may be the truth. You don't have clarity on what is the absolute truth, right? You, with your own endeavor, with your own knowledge, strength, you want to discover what is the truth. It's like the modern day scientists. They're all following the ascending process. What understanding they had, say, 50 years ago is changed now because they have figured out some things. And more they're trying to figure out, or rather find out, they're getting bewildered. Right? That's how it is. Ascending process means, it's like Prabhupada says, if you want to know whether man is mortal in the material world or immortal in the material world, you go on experimenting with everybody. How many people you will experiment? You have a limitation, right? And moreover, with ascending process, our own defects, as a human being, we have 4 defects. We have imperfect senses, we have cheating propensity, our senses are limited, our senses are having limitations with regard to our sense perception, and the illusion. So with all these limitations, what you understand, what you conclude, again it is faulty. So this is called ascending process. Whereas the descending process means this is the Avaroha Pantha, the Vedic process, means we hear from authorities. Prabhupada gives example of a child may not know that this is a table. The father will say, when the child asks, what is this, father? The father will say, it is a table. The child will simply repeat. Even though it may not have, its knowledge may be imperfect, doesn't matter. But because it is repeating the perfect understanding from the father, that all knowledge is perfect. So descending process, we don't want to experiment, we don't want to research. We just accept the authoritative understanding coming down in the parampara. Right? We do have scope for trying to understand the things. If you have any questions with a submissiveness, ask questions, not in a challenging mood, but in the mood of humility, to the seva bhava, to the authorities. Then elicit proper answers. You can ask questions. That is called descending process. That is the process which the Vedic system recommends. Avaroha Pantha. Aroha Pantha is a jnanic process, wherein with your own strength you're trying to figure out. And Krishna explains about this in 7th chapter. Bahunam janmanam ante jnanavan mam prapadyate. After many births, millions of births, one may come to understand that Vasudeva Sarvamiti. Krishna is the source of everything. In Krishna consciousness, what happens? Prabhupada, the descending process, what is there? Prabhupada says, Krishna is Supreme Lord. Or we are not experimenting here. We are just accepting what Prabhupada said. Why? Because his authority is coming in parampara. Whereas Jnanis are trying to figure out, many times we hear, whether we meet people outside, they'll be experimenting with different, spiritual paths. This path, that path, this, somebody, this 101 things they'll be figuring out. Finally, when they come to Prabhupada, oh, this is the right thing. Because they have experimented everything, nowhere they're getting the proper truth. All confusing. Right? Simply, they'll not have any clarity on, no clear conception of who is God. What is God? All vague understanding about absolute truth, about our existence, all these things. Prabhupada is so clearly, crystal clear, because it is coming in the parampara. Pure devotee, his words are so impactful. His Vani is so impactful. Whatever he speaks, it goes and touches you directly. And it is a fact. Others are simply beating the bush, beating around the bush. Prabhupada's Guru Maharaj gives example of this ascending process. You go on licking the bottle of honey from outside.
Yeah.
You can never get the taste of the honey, right? Maybe some honey is sticking outside. Oh, very tasty, very sweet it is. Oh, but what is the best way? To open the lid and put your finger and the descending process. Right? So, from the day one, moment you contact Prabhupada, Prabhupada starts giving you nectar of holy name, nectar of Bhagavad Gita, Vani. It flows into our consciousness and we feel so vitalized. So rejuvenated with our spiritual understanding. You feel, as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, Anandabudhi Vardhanam. The sense of happiness which you experience at every step is beyond description. Whereas in any other process, you go on endeavoring, as Krishna said in last chapter, 12th chapter, it is so too troublesome, painful.
Self-effort, only effort by oneself.
Self-effort. And Brahma says in his prayer, it is just like beating an empty husk.
Yes.
Labor only. What you know, no grain in that. The jnana process, ascending process is like that. Or when I went this path, nothing available. Okay, next, one more I'll go. No guarantee. Correct. Because descending process, authority is telling you follow, guaranteed. It is sure. What Prabhupada explained, no, in the last chapter. Difference between the impersonal path and the personal path. Impersonal path, there is no guarantee at all whether we are going to get success or not. It is indirect process, troublesome process, risky. With your own endeavor, you have to try. No guarantee of result. Whereas this is direct process, easy process, happy process. Lord helps. In this one, you help yourself. Whatever happens, happens. In other process, Lord helps. Right? Result is assured. Risk-free. Whether you chant Hare Krishna attentively or inattentively, sleepingly, doesn't matter. Krishna, at least, okay, you chanted today. Very good. Slowly, you'll become more attentive. Okay, I'm chanting Krishna's name. Why am I sleeping? Okay, let me be attentive. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna. Yes, see. At least you start performing devotional service, then slowly quality will come in. What am I doing? Simply chanting Hare Krishna. Some sound what is I'm doing? Chanting Krishna's names. So it all begins like that, right? With no proper understanding, with slowly, because Krishna's names you're chanting, he gives knowledge. Yes, see. Other process you have to endeavor. What is this? What is this? Figure out. Not easy. Somewhere your last means lost. That's the difference. Okay? Fine.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare.
Okay, so we'll close here. We'll continue our discussions next week. Thank you, everybody. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Krishna.